everybody. Thanks for joining me for Thursday 20 Minutes with Marti Hampton to talk about real estate. And I want to tell you, I want this to be interactive. Please let me know you're there. Text into the chat. We're going to have a question and answer after we finished. But I really like the interaction, so please text any questions or any thoughts that you have about what I'm saying. Because today I'm going to go over the 10 skills that I think are needed for leadership. And this would count for leadership in any type of business, but I want to tell you, of course, my business is real estate, and I've been a team leader for a very long time. And I want to share with you some of the things that I've learned over the years. So we'll just get started. But remember, type in there. And at the end of the time, I'll leave a few minutes for questions and things like that. But, you know, I wrote down some thoughts about the 10 skills. And the first one I wanted to talk about was just the development of your communication skills. And to be in real estate, you need to be a great communicator. Now, when I say that, most people think about speaking. Maybe they need to be a great public speaker. They need to be great at presenting. And those things are important. But the number one skill of a great communicator is intense listening, active listening, it's been called. Your client, your customer, whoever you're working with must believe that you're fully focused on listening to the intent of their conversation. And years ago, I gave a presentation at the Raleigh Board of Realtors, and it was actually on listings. And I may have told you this before, but it was a funny day because there's a great agent there that I still love and adore. But she is a talker. She was a cheerleader in high school. I mean, she is just wide open out there all the time. And so one of the first things I said was, when I arrive at a listing, I introduce myself. I say, thank you for inviting me to your home. Would you like to go over marketing the home, or would you show me through your house to begin with? And let the customer decide, and then let them walk. They usually walk me through the house, and then let them tell me every detail they want to tell me about each room. And by listening to them, and I've got this funny little quirky habits. I'm an old salt, like an old sailor. I look into their left eye, and I listen intently when they tell me, like, oh, we redid this bonus room ourselves. And that's the reason it's Pepto-Bismol pink, you know. So, and I smile, but I have a rule. I don't talk. I listen. And I've often said that when I use this skill effectively, and I'm working with a husband and a wife, I'm probably giving that husband and that wife maybe more listening time than they've gotten in the last 10 years from their own spouse. Believe me, intent listening is what you do when you're on the first date, not after 15, 20 years. So it's a skill, and you can't be thinking about your next conversation, what you're going to say. And so after I got finished with that presentation at the Raleigh Board of Realtors, this agent, my cheerleader friend, she said, oh, Marti, I could never do that, because when the door opens, the agent starts talking and they're going, 90 miles an hour, and they don't take time to listen. So I say the number one development communication skill that you need to work on is listening. And then the second one is just your curiosity. You know, if you're all about you, you're never really going to build what you need to build in business, especially in real estate. So be curious about the people and their goals. And all this goes under the development of your communication skills. So it's not what you can get out of them. I think, you remember when you go into the department store and you see that person there who leaps on you and says, can I help you, please? And what your first reaction is, no, I'm just looking. And that's the way agents seem to clients when they don't take the time to really get in step with their client and find out, be curious about where they are, what makes them tick, where are they in the home buying process. So find out if you can help them. That's the reason you're there. And then respond clearly and confidently with really straightforward language. None of this, we've got shortcuts in real estate. I can't think of all of them right now, but let's say NAR. Well, NAR we know stands for the National Association of Realtors, but if we were to use NAR in a conversation with a client, they wouldn't know what that meant. So break it down. They're not in your business. Make it clear and straightforward. And don't use real estate speak. Actually, I get a kick out of sometimes when I read descriptions about homes for sale, they got so much real estate speak in there. If a client ever read it, they wouldn't know what in the world they were talking about. So don't use that technical jargon. No initials, please. Just keep pace and get in step with your audience, with your clients. So that's my first thing, is the development of communication skills. The second thing I really want to talk about is just building your confidence. The first thing I want to say about this is sometimes ignorance is bliss. And that must have been how I started out my real estate career, because I started out with confidence. And when I say I started out with confidence, I don't mean to sound anything other than humbly telling you the truth. I didn't know what I didn't know, and I just jumped out there and did it. And I made a lot of mistakes. But building your confidence, I know you've heard the term fake it till you make it. I want you to believe that you can do more than you think you can do. Like, I'm going to give you an example. I just heard actually somebody I adore say that they were let's say $100,000 agent. That means they only felt comfortable showing very inexpensive homes. And I want to tell you a story about way, way back. Somebody that's still in the business today, but many years ago they were in the business with me. And honestly, they were probably a week at the most of getting out of real estate. And so our office, it was a very small office at that time, got a call on a very expensive home. I would have liked to take that call, but I didn't get the call. And we'll call this person that will remain nameless Sue. And so Sue says, "Oh, I'm so nervous. I've just never shown a house this expensive before. I'm scared." And I just slapped her on the back and said, "You're going to do a great job with this. They're going to love you." And of course, I gave her encouragement. And by the way, she sold that house and still in real estate 25 years later. So she was 1 week away from getting out of this business. And her confidence was really low. But she went ahead and did it. And I don't know why I've gone off the screen here. I'm back now. But so if you don't know the answer to something, a lot of times if you don't know the answer to something, just say so really plainly, but then go find it and get back with them as quickly as possible. That's really, really important. So confidence is built through experience of doing things. But unfortunately, I wish I could tell you it was different, but you're going to learn more from your mistakes than you ever do from your successes. So making mistakes and putting yourself in uncomfortable situations is going to assist your confidence and your growth bigger and better than anything. So move forward with action. Make your day full of action, of talking to people you don't know, of asking them about real estate if that's your game, which is my game. I mean, everybody wants to talk about real estate. If you were a dentist, nobody would want to talk to you. Everybody's sad that they have to come see you if you're a dentist, but in real estate, they think they know your business, so naturally they want to talk to you. So listen to their opinion. You'll grab some rapport with that and then go forward and learn how to ask great questions. The third thing I'd say is learn to make a decision quickly. Oh boy, this is really a good one. And I have to tell you, you know it, and I know it. I'm from the baby boomer generation, and we're and I didn't even think about all this generational stuff, but there is a difference. Let me tell you about baby boomers. Number one, baby boomers wanted to leave home earlier. They wanted to get out of that house quickly. They thought they knew better than their parents. and they weren't comfortable living under their rules. They moved fast. I left home when I was in my teens, and only went back for a short few months, and then really made it on my own because I was too darn stubborn to take any kind of advice from a sweet mother that I had. So I probably should have, but I didn't. And I learned a lot through making a whole lot of mistakes early in life. So practice making decisions in different situations. To be a great leader, you're going to have to make decisions quickly and effectively. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't listen to other people, but then you make a decision. You know, my generation's been raised on one-liners, and the one-liner that has always helped me in this portion of leadership is make a decision and then make it right. In other words, don't second guess yourself. Make a decision, make it as quickly as you can, and then make that stand on that decision and go forward with determination to make that decision right. You'll go farther that way than you will, oh, maybe I should have done this, and oh, I didn't think right about that, and oh, we all go through that of just raking ourselves over the coals when things we're having a bad day after we've made a decision, and oh, I shouldn't have done this, I shouldn't have done that. Folks, listen, failure, as I said, failure teaches you much more than successes ever will. So you better learn how to make a decision. Don't be an indecisive person. And once you make a decision, don't hold back. Burn the bridge. That's another military term I like a lot. When they wanted the soldiers to really win, they would take them in a battle, maybe on a ship, and they go to an island, and then they burn the ship. So they had no way out unless they won. They were going to die. So that's how you make a decision and make it right. The next thing I would tell you is just embrace learning and development. That's one of the greatest things I love about being in real estate is it's not the same as it was years ago. And you have to keep up with it. You have to keep your edge. You've got to be edgy. You've got to be, you got to move. You got to sway with it. You got to grow with it. The inventory changes. You got to know that. Buyers change. Sellers change. Other agents changed. Opportunities change in the industry. And if you're so set in your ways, you won't embrace learning and development. And man, I'm always about that because I want to know the latest. Right now in real estate, there's a lot of AI discussion. I've taken a class on artificial intelligence, and it's a whole world of difference between the Homes and Land book of years ago. So you've really got to keep up with the changes. And it's not just happening in real estate, it's in business, it's in our world. You've got to be part of it. You've got to be part of that rat race and enjoy that rat race. So take on those new challenges and request feedback from your clients, from your team, because you learned through those mistakes. You got to request that feedback and think outside of the box. You know, really, honestly, one of the most challenging things is having time for creativity in your life. And that's without your radio, without your TV. You know, I have a family member that cannot be in the house without something on. I don't know if you're like this or not, but man, sometimes I just want silence. Silence is golden. That's what they told me. But anyway, you've got to have some time to be creative. And I don't know how you can be creative with 1,000 things going on. Maybe you can. But I had one of my leaders tell me years ago that they got their best ideas in the shower. I don't know how long you can stay in a shower, but it's certainly not long enough. So set some time aside to dream, to be creative. The next thing I want to tell you is to build your network. I just got back from a great meeting with Sherry Yano and her team this morning. And she is such an asset to my team. I mean, what they do is amazing because they have perfected the lending. You know, they're a local lender. They're probably the best, biggest local lender in the Triangle area. And Sherry Riano's team is there to help the client. The service that they give makes you look good as an agent. So I love that. And one of the examples that we talked about this morning, which was very enlightening to me, is today, in today's world, we've got a lot of people that come to us as real estate agents and they say, oh, well, I've got my own lender. And most agents just let it stop with that. They say, oh, you got your own lender? Great. Your sister-in-law, oh, you got that online lender, so-and-so. Well, online lenders are usually trash. But here's the key. No matter what, you can use your lender, you can use your cousin, but what I want you to do as a professional is I want you at least to have 2 estimates there side by side so you can discover where the hidden fees are. Because I can tell you for sure that we have compared the online fees to one of our lenders and seen an enormous amount of hidden fees that made it look like they were actually the less expensive, but in reality, they were not. So you want great advice when you're buying a big investment like a home? Go to somebody that's been in the business and cares about their name and their reputation. And I think the Sherry Riano team is a great choice for that lender. When you're building your network, that means your lawyers, your peers. You want to have friends that are your competition. I'm actually meeting with somebody from another company tonight. Since when can't we sit down with our competition and just talk about the industry, just talk about the changes in the industry and how we're navigating through them and get some good ideas? So the more extensive your network, it actually takes effort. And we get in the pattern of just staying around people that we know and not really branching out. We just get in that rut. And I had another leader one time did a red suit film. His name was Glenn Turner. Boy, that's going back a ways. And he said the difference between a rut and a grave is a rut is a grave with both ends knocked out. So if you think about it, it wasn't very glamorous speech, but we did get into this rut. We go home the same way. We go to the same restaurants. We get into ruts. So you have to work on that. No great leader has ever led alone. So you got to have some great people around you, and building that network is really, really important. The next one is just lead by example and do the best you can. Some days I'm sure I've let my team down. But your actions speak louder than words. They're going to know if you care about them, if you believe in them, they're going to know. So you got to try really hard to be a good example yourself. And if you're like me, you're probably pretty easy to beat yourself up. I know I am because I can never quite live up to the standard that I would like to live up in my life. So, but just lead with honesty. Your accountability, lead with respect and reliability. Be there for your team. Know what's happening in their life and be a positive influence in their life. And then the next one that goes along with that is really just be consistent the best you can in your consistency, in your behavior, in your values, in maintaining balance. Your team needs to know what they can expect from you. And I hope that my team does. Provide clear and consistent communication about giving them goals. Sit down with them, talk about their goals and their expectations for what they want out of this business. So the next one, we're getting close to the end here, is just keep an open mind. And keeping an open mind, think about this. Everything is changing all around us all the time. Except for us. We're the hardest thing in the world to get to change. Changing ourselves is the most difficult order we get. So don't shut down on new ideas. When somebody starts into something and you've got an apprehension on it, oh man, I've heard that before. I've seen that done before. I don't agree with that. Force yourself to listen to the full idea with an open mind. And really, that's going to enlarge, I'm political. I'm just going to tell you right it is. And so it's very hard for me. But I never want to close my mind that I don't listen to the good. that's in another person's point of view. I want to dig out if there's 1% or 10% good. I want to know what that 10% good is. And I think it's really important to do that Ben Franklin checklist. You know that one that says, okay, this is good, this is bad. Do that on everything. Especially do that if you're getting ready to get married or anything like that. Anyway, just a joke. But the other two things are left. And the one is just empower your team. Believe in them, celebrate, encourage their success. I fully hope with every ounce in me right now that I'm developing leaders that will be the leaders in the Triangle real estate 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 20 years from now. I want to develop those leaders. I want to say I had my little part in their success. Because when I look back, to be bluntly honest with you, I could count on one hand, and I wouldn't even need the full hand to say, these are the people that inspired me. These are the people that said something good about me that resonated with me. So I want you to celebrate your people's success. Use disappointing outcomes as teaching moments. It's really hard when you have something that happened to you that's a disappointment, not to start justifying your position. That's just really, really what we all want to do. Oh, well, they didn't go with me because they had a cousin in the business. Or they didn't go with me because of this or because of that. They didn't list the house with me because of this. And what really is needed is self-evaluation at that point in time. Now, again, I'm not talking about beating yourself up for, 10 days. It's getting over it and moving on to the next thing is an important part of it. But if you don't stop and learn something, you've missed a great, great opportunity. So great leaders allow their team to believe in themselves beyond their perceived ability. See, I know my team. I know the great talent that I have on my team. I know what they can build in the next 5 years, in the next 10 years. I know what they can build. And I'm excited for them. I just want them to catch the dream, to know what they can achieve, because there's a lot that can be achieved in this great business. And the last thing I would say is just try to understand your people. It's not easy to understand all people, but I try to think about my people's strengths and weaknesses. I think you can lead more effectively. And I think about a ball team a lot. Real estate to me is a game, and all business is a game. And how you count the winner is usually by the profit that you make. But empowering and motivating your team with goals is really, really important. But then a secret to the goals is the accountability, because if you don't have the accountability in place, you're wasting everybody's time. So you have to have a way to count accountability. Everyone has the ability to be a great leader. Everyone. Maybe you won't get put in a position in your lifetime to where you have to lead. But not everyone has the drive necessary to be a great leader. My story, when I got in real estate, I was a single parent of 3 children. I didn't have any natural talent as a leader, and I still work on it daily. But I needed to be a leader. I had the drive, and I want you to find the drive in your heart to excel, because you only got one life to live. This is a great way to spend it in this great industry of real estate, but this is how to do it. So I hope you love these 10 skills. I hope they helped you a little bit. I'm going to give you a few minutes to see if anybody's got any comments or questions.
You guys feel free to put some questions in the chat. We have one here. How do you balance making a decision quickly and keeping an open mind?
Well, the way I do it is I listen to my team, and if they sway me, if they're really good, I can take that into my decision-making process. But then I'm going to make a decision. I make the final decision after I hear all their input, and then we don't second guess it. We go forward 100%. But there is a time of reflection, but it has to come quickly. You know, there's some things you don't have time to talk to your whole team about. You don't have time to talk to your mentor about. So you're going to have to make a decision and go forward. But when you can, get the input from your mentor, from people that you trust, and then make the decision.
How do you encourage innovation and creativity within your team?
Well, I think I mentioned it in this. I'm a real big person about nature and being silent and being alone. I think there's a lot of noise in the world, and I think we're surrounded by it. Somebody said one time you see 900 buying signals a day, and that was like a long time ago, so now you probably see 2,000 buying signals a day. But I think taking time to be alone in nature, to me, that's a great source of what you need to be creative.
Diane would like to know, can you repeat your comments you made regarding a friend who was about 1 week away from quitting real estate, and what changed her mind?
Well, we were in a small real estate organization, and at that point in time, she was going to show a $500,000 home, which in today's world would have been probably a $1 million, $1.5 million home. And she was just nervous. She'd never worked with a client of that scale. The whole thing intimidated her. It just intimidated her. So I did encourage her to go ahead. I said, you're going to do great with them. I wanted her to show that house. I encouraged her to show that house. She did step out there and show that house. She won that client. And I believe that changed the whole course of her life. That's my opinion, because I know she was about a week away from getting out of real estate. So she did something that was uncomfortable, and I think that changed things.
I think that's it for comments. Somebody named Gigi said, Marty would always say, don't let your ego get in the way.
There you go. That's Gigi. I know Gigi. And she's an awesome, awesome gal with a lot of energy and a lot of drive and a lot of talent. And don't let your ego get in the way. That's really good advice, because in real estate, for some reason, we do let our ego get in the way a lot of times. So put your ego outside the door and just go forward with humility and with a drive to do the best that you can for the customer and the client. And you'll do really well. Guys, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you'll come back next Thursday. We try to get together for just a few minutes on Thursday, and I appreciate you tuning me in. If you need any assistance in real estate, if you want to talk sometime about the industry, I'd love to talk to you. Take care. Have a great day.